Hello, everybody. My name is Houtan Hodania, creative executive at SOCAN in Toronto, and welcome to Cooking Beats. Today we got a super special guest right now. We got a Grammy Award-winning music producer FORTHENIGHT.
Pleasure having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, IMSTA Fest, for having us and being able to do this panel. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. I guess first of all, we can just kind of do a little introduction and background on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. As you know, my name is FORTHENIGHT. I'm a producer, sound designer from Brampton, Canada. I produce for artists such as Bad Bunny, Summer Walker, SZA, Cardi B, Don Toliver, D-Block Europe, and much more. I've been producing for ever since like 9 years. At an industry level, around 4 years or so. And yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess how we're going to do this, we're going to break this down into two segments, one of which is going to be an open-ended conversation, interview style, asking questions about yourself, how you got started, little tips and tricks for emerging producers and whatnot. And in the second segment, we're going to go through one of your beats that you put together and just kind of dissect that and how FORTHENIGHT, puts together a beat.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess my first question to you is like, how did you even get into music? How did you start producing music?
Yeah, I got into music in high school. I've been always a fan of music, like literally all my life. Listen to music, always been, curious of, how things were made and whatnot. So basically, like, I started off with DJing. I wasn't really good at it, but really got into DJing. Was always looking up, tutorials on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I just, ended up getting on basically like YouTube and seeing, the side panels of like suggestions of, how to make a beat on FL Studio, whatever. So from there, I kind of just searched like clicked those videos and got curious to see like, oh, like this is, how beats are made.
Yeah.
And I kind of downloaded FL Studio from there, and then just kind of like experimented with like different stuff, watching tutorials on how to make a beat, listening to also like music, a lot of music, and see how like those beats were made on YouTube, and just, that's how I really got into it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And even within that short period of time, like just to see your success within that short period of time is incredible. Obviously, like as you mentioned, you've been working with Don Toliver and Wonder Girl and Summer Walker and obviously the Bad Bunny placements.
Yeah.
How did all these cuts come about? Like how did you really, start growing your network and getting these cuts? Obviously emerging producers always want to find out how to get placements and whatnot. So I guess my question to you is like, how did you go about it, and what advice would you have any emerging producers that are trying to separate themselves from the pack?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the biggest thing for me, like when I was starting off, was collaboration. I felt like that was, a good way to, build relationships and genuine relationships, not just, messaging people saying like, yo, like, I'm a producer, this, that, let's work. Like really, build genuine relationships. From there, I kind of just, collaborated with a lot of producers. And then from there, kind of like naturally, my name would just get out there by word of mouth, First one will be in a producer will be in like, the studio with the artist or, producer. And they'll be like, yo, like who made the sample? It'll be like FORTHENIGHT. Yeah. And a lot of times, they will post me, and then, more people would follow me and then just ask me for more stuff. And it was kind of like a domino effect, I'm trying to say. So
yeah, from
there, like that kind of really helped me. Also to like branding, the whole entire FORTHENIGHT image, like everywhere on my sample packs, no matter what, or just, my Instagram or anybody just sees me, it's like always the moon and just like a dark type of theme going on. So that's like one big thing that really helped my branding. So yeah, just for emerging producers or just any creative is just having a good branding. Like branding is like the biggest thing, honestly. Like just having your own sound as well. Like I feel like that definitely helped me as well. I wasn't making a lot of, stuff that everybody was making back then. It was like very left field, weird stuff. So yeah, a lot of those stuff for sure. Yeah.
I love that. I love how you mentioned that, like getting into studios and building genuine relationships. Obviously, like everyone finds their own path. I just find that, like, those placements and those genuine, it comes from the relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting in the studio and building that relationship with someone and growing with them and building with someone. So I really love how you mentioned that. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I did want to touch on the importance of collaboration.
Yeah.
Do you find it very important for emerging producers to be working with different people outside of their genre that they may be comfortable with. So I guess touch up on a little bit about the importance of collaboration.
Yeah, and collaboration is super important. I feel like, like I said before, the relationships, building genuine relationships, but also too, it's like you can see like other people's process, I'm trying to say, like, and kind of, take that into account and kind of like, put in within your workflow, but not actually copy them, but just, do certain things that they do that you probably wouldn't even think of. So that was like one thing that definitely, helped me with collaborating. But yeah, that's a really big one.
I love that. Yeah. Speaking of, building genuine relationships, obviously you signed to Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah. I was actually, still am, good friends with her cousin. And basically, one day, obviously her cousin knows like I make beats and stuff like that. So, I kind of just was always a big fan of Wonder Girl. And he just said like, yo, like, I can help you out, whatever. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So basically from there, he kind of got me a studio session with Wanda, and I was kind of like, she didn't really know I was a producer.
Yeah.
I think she just knew I made beats, but like I was kind of there as like a cameraman.
Yeah.
And during the session, I kind of just like just snuck up on her and just said like, yo, like, can I play some beats for you, whatever. The beats were honestly trash.
Yeah.
They're super trash.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
I gotta start somewhere. So most important thing was that I wanted her to know my face.
Yeah.
The most important thing. So I got her number. From there, like years and years go by. Like I would just text her on like special occasions like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and stuff like that. Knowing that she would answer, but just generally just checking up on her and then
being genuine.
Being genuine. You know what I'm trying to say.
Love
and
that.
then from there, like, yeah, man, just naturally, like everything just happened from there.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's talk about your actual creative process.
Yeah.
So how do you start a beat from scratch? Do you use a sample? Do you start with the melody, the drums? Like, how do you go about it?
Yeah, my process is usually I get inspiration. I can't really just jump right into a beat or a sample. It's like I need like to listen to something that inspires me. So I usually go on YouTube, listen to a lot of like old school samples, from the 80s, 70s, new music too, and just kind of listen to like, the melodies and the instruments, just weird stuff that kind of gets me inspired, left field stuff. And from there, I'll just kind of like go in, start with the chord progression, and from there just go through like a different bunch of sounds and kind of see like what sounds kind of work together. From there, like when I actually have like a solid, foundation of like a composition, I'll kind of, go in there and just experiment with like different, weird effects and whatnot, trying to make it different as much as possible. Like that's,
For sure.
That's like my biggest goal, like when I make music.
For sure.
And then from there, kind of just either just send out as a sample or just add drums on it. And then, yeah, that's pretty much like my creative process.
And then you got a crazy For the Night beat.
Literally.
I love it.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about the actual creative side of things, which is obviously the fun part.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the business side of things too.
Yeah.
You put in all that work to put in the music, and you get your placements. It's important to take care of the business side as well.
Yeah.
For emerging producers that may not know, who are the key players on your team? Is it the manager?
Yeah.
Who do you have on your team to make sure that For the Night is sorted?
Yeah, my manager is like a big part in my whole entire, process. Ever since like I literally started producing, like basically as a producer, it's like we always deal with like, being creative. Like it's hard to be creative as it is. So,
right.
Just having a manager, having a good lawyer as well, like on your team, like you don't have to really focus on that stuff. And obviously like everybody has, everybody brings something to the table.
Sure.
Everybody has a role that they play. So it's just like, it's like endless amount of like possibilities, and ideas that you guys can like come up with just like, grow your career. So yeah.
When do you think a producer needs to find management, or is every situation kind of different?
Yeah, every situation is different. It's like, I feel like you'll know, like when you really can't handle it, it's just like, you're going to get burnt out.
Yeah. Like
you'll know exactly when it's the right time. Like you'll be like, yo, like I really can't handle this. It's one of those things that you just have to feel it out, Yeah. It's like, you just got to feel it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you that 100%. So obviously, we touched up on branding and, having importance of having a presence on social media. Like, what are some other ways outside of that you can, get your name out there as a music producer?
Yeah, definitely. Getting out your comfort zone is like a big thing. You know, what I'm trying to say, like, a lot of producers are kind of stuck in their bedrooms, and you know, a lot of these producers and artists out there don't really know your face. So I feel like, you know, traveling, you know, going into, you know, studio sessions like outside the country, or just going to like events outside, like in LA, or you know, just Atlanta, like, you know, like big cities, like, sorry, big states like those, where basically like a lot of, you know, music is. That's like a really, really big way to like kind of like get your, you know, branding up for sure. Yeah.
I love that. And I feel like traveling and just like, you know, getting out of your comfort zone and being in different studio sessions and collaborating with people is also a great way to deal with creative block. Because obviously, as you know, as creatives, we all deal with it.
Yeah.
How do you handle creative block? Like, what are some, you know, tips and tricks you may have for people that deal with that?
Yeah, definitely getting away from your computer.
Yeah.
That's like the one big thing that, you know, a lot of people don't do. It's like if you can't make anything at that moment, kind of just step away.
Don't force
You know, yeah, don't force it. Go on a walk, you know, just do something that can kind of get your mind off it. Obviously too, like the big thing, listening to music. Like listen to just stuff that you don't really usually listen to. Like just, even if it's just rock and roll or like, you know, something that you don't really listen to, because, you know, certain elements in those genres can kind of spark inspiration. And so, yeah, I feel like that's like definitely a big thing that can help for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
And mental health as well, obviously, you know, that you got to be in a good mindset to, you know, be in that creative zone.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's something that we all deal with as well. Like,
Yeah,
how do
100%.
you deal, like, what are the importance of mental health?
Yeah, for me, honestly, like there's a bunch of things I do, like working out, therapy. Honestly, one big thing that a lot of, you know, us creatives really don't do. We think that we can help ourselves or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's not really like that. You know, we all go through stuff, and you know, having somebody to talk to, if it's not, even if it's not your friend or whatever, just, you know, therapy is like one big thing that definitely has helped me, you know, a lot of time. You know, eating healthy, that's one big thing. Like, you know, if you're eating junk food, you're gonna feel like junk. So, yeah, eating healthy will definitely, you know, help with that for sure. There's a bunch of stuff for mental health, you know, but those are like the main things for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love how you, you know, touched up on that. Mental health is obviously huge part. You know, it's something that we've all been talking about. We're both obviously a big advocate for it. So taking care of yourself and your mental first, it's the main thing. So
no,
you know,
definitely.
I'm glad we talked about that.
100%.
You know, I feel like we talked about quite a few things, and I think it's time to get into the exciting part of it. So you got a beat here that you put together. You know, why don't we kind of just go into that and just go walk us through how you put it together, how you started, and just talk about this For the Night beat here.
Yep, let's get it. All right, so this is a beat that I made. It's actually a sample I made from scratch, and then I added drums on it. But I'm just gonna break down, you know, step by step of how I basically go about doing things when it comes to making samples and beats. So I basically started off with this chord progression over here. I'll play it real quick. Without effects, I'll literally show you how it sounds like, because it literally just sounds plain without effects. So it's like a complete, literally like transition and everything. Like, so pull all those effects back. So I have an outer space, just to kind of fill in the space with between the notes. I have a halftime on it, a harmonizer, just kind of basically like just widens the sound, and just cut off a bunch of low end off the chord progression, and play it again. You know, nothing too crazy, still a lot of space. From there, I kind of added like something that has to be, you know, catchy. I always have to have something that sticks, you know, to a lot of just to like the human ear. So I added this sound over here, and both sounds were actually one shots. So that's one of the sounds, and then the next one was the right over here. So it's literally the same exact sound, but so I'm gonna show you how I did with this one. So it's kind of like a top line, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And then the effects for those, I'll let you know. So same thing, outer space, one of my favorite plugins, amazing delay plugin. Halftime again. This time I use this pedal. from Reactor. It kind of gives it like a low LFO, kind of makes it like a weird sound in a way. Valhalla Reverb to kind of like widen the noise, sound.
Yeah.
And then this plugin called Backmask, and that basically just, like I said, like just kind of adds like texture to it, makes it stand out, you know, compared to the actual chord progression in the back. So I have those two. Also too, I added this noise. This is very subtle. It's another one shot. It's just a key. I'll play it right now. It goes over here. It's like kind of in the background. From over there, I added this sound. It's like a synth. It's like really in the back. You can't really hear these things.
Yeah.
You hear it. This doesn't really have any effects on it. I kind of just, you know, put in there, kind of just pan it a bit. That's how I kind of go about my, you know, making melodies. I usually pan everything, so everything is in its own section. You know what I'm trying to say? Nothing's kind of clashing with each other. For some reason, I don't know why this sound is not working, but I think it's actually muted. But it's all good. So yeah, so far it's basically just these sounds right here. Very simple melody. From there, what I usually do is I usually flip it. And when I flip my melodies, I basically put it into this, built-in VST called Foodie Slicer. Basically what it does is you drop it in there and it basically just slices each, basically just slices it up in a way, and basically it makes it sound like it was like sampled in a way. And you can play with, you know, the settings, you know, declick or whatever, and added a couple of more effects, flangus, cut off a bit of low end, cut off more frequencies, and then I think I also pitched it down. Yeah, pitched it down one semitone, and it turns into basically this. You know, it kind of gives it like a very kind of gives it a bounce. You know,
I love it.
a whole different type of vibe. From there, I always start with hi-hats. Always, no matter what. When I start with beats, hi-hats first.
Yeah.
And then work my way up to like, you know, claps or snares, and then go into like the bass line usually last. So I'll just run through everything real quick. Use that hi-hat patterns, like doing like weird stuff. And then from there, I added a clap. There, you keep going down, added in these snares to fill it in. And another hi-hat just on the top. And I'm gonna show you guys what I did with this bass line because it's kind of really different. Like I said, I always like to have, you know, some weird stuff within my beats, kind of just, you know, very left field stuff that people wouldn't really think about doing, or, you know, that's not really, you know, normal to do, you know?
Yeah.
So, so I had this 808. And, you know, to really make the 808 stand out, so I basically added these rolls, and it's like a percussion on top of it. And it basically sounds like if you were to put the 808 notes in a higher note.
Yeah.
But I basically did that with a percussion. So it basically makes it sound like this. I'll single that out. So with everything, it kind of just sounds like this. I'll put everything in context. Oh, and then another part also too, I added like a B section where basically it changes up. And this part right over here, I'll show you. I basically converted this into a WAV file and then pitched it up to kind of, you know, have variations. I didn't really want to make everything sound exactly, you know, just repetitive, you know. So doing that is definitely a great way to add, you know, different sections within your beats. So with that, not really a lot of effects or anything like that. Just EQing, cut off more lows again. And I also made it a bit mono because I didn't really want the higher frequencies to like kind of clash with everything because it's so in a high, like it's in a higher octave. So I kind of just put it into mono instead of stereo. So, you know, everything just doesn't clash. And yeah, I'll just play everything all together so you can just hear it in context with everything.
Are we done for the night?
You know, it's still really simple. Still, like, you know, artists can go on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room to breathe, you know what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say? Like, artists can hear this right away and be like, yo, like, I can get on this right away.
Yeah.
And, you know, before, when I used to make a lot of beats and stuff, I used to add so many things, like, just clutter the whole entire sound. But it's like, as long as, you know, you still can be creative and be simple at the same time, like, that's, like, the most important thing, you know?
Nah, I
you
love
can still
it.
be different
Yeah.
with minimal sounds,
Yeah.
you know?
I can't sing, I can't rap, but I want to hop on the mic right now. Listen,
Appreciate that, man.
that's how it's done, man. I appreciate you going through this. This is a crazy beat.
No worries, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. Some of you here in the nighttime.
Literally.
Hence the name.
For the night.
There you go.
For the night, literally. Night vibe.
So it's done. Incredible, man. Incredible. Again, appreciate you. You know, why don't you drop your Instagram handle so people can get in touch with you, follow your journey?
Yeah, for sure. My Instagram is at FORTHENIGHT Music, FORTHENIGHT, and then music. You can follow me on there, and yeah.
Amazing. Love it, man. Appreciate you again.
All right, man. You
Thank
too,
you
bro.
for coming by. Jeez.